Hey guys, Kyle from Spirit Effects here, and we are back for another Tip Tuesday. This week I wanted to touch on something that's come to the forefront the last couple of weeks, being this is cleanup season and I'm doing a lot of video reviews this week, and that is about cleaning our dances. A lot of dances I've been looking at over the last couple of weeks are not necessarily bad choreographed dances, or not lacking a whole lot of elements as far as a high scoring dance, but they are lacking execution. And one thing about the dance category is there is no separation between execution of dance and the dance difficulty. So a lot of the scores that are a little bit lower than we like to be are because of the execution. So I wanted to share a game with you guys that I found to be amazing at cleaning our dances. And you really will realize that there's so many things to fix in your dance when you're playing this game. I do want to give credit where credit is due. I learned this game when I coached a couple years ago at Gym Time, Illinois, with Justin Miller. He taught me this game. I think he got it from another coach, so there's probably some more credit to be given, but I don't know who that is. But how we play the game, and it is kind of a game, and it's super fun. One thing that I always tell coaches that I teach this game to is, it is kind of super boring to clean dances at practice. It's just not the most exciting, exhilarating thing to do at practice. But it's something that I think is severely overlooked, and we're giving away those easy points, especially if your dance is well choreographed. The great thing about this game is that it's very focused on attention to detail. You're able to see so many things wrong with your dance each time you play this game. Another great thing about this game is, we all have those practices where a kid's missing from practice. And I know when I used to coach, whenever we were missing a kid due to a choir concert or whatever reason they want to give you, is that practices always weren't as useful as I would like them to be. I felt like if we were missing people, I'd be okay with maybe letting my kids out early because there's nothing to do. Or it's like, well, we're done doing stuff full out. I guess we'll just tumble. This is a great way to be still proactive with cleaning your routines and doing things that will help your routine if you're missing an athlete for any given reason. How we play the game is it's kind of a freeze game. So let's pretend that our dance, maybe you start a slap clap on 1, 2, and then you go into your dance 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, etc. So what we'll do is we'll start counting 5, 6, 7, 8. Dance starts 1, 2, 3, and freeze. We're going to freeze on every 4 and every 8, at least the first time we play the game. I feel like that's the easiest way to start learning it. So 5, 6, 7, 8, dance starts 1, 2, 3, and freeze. Everyone has to freeze. If they don't, it doesn't count. We have to start over. What happens during this freeze is we have a full 8 count to really analyze the number 4 of our dance. And what you'll come to realize is that angles of where the athletes' bodies are, motion placements of where the athletes' arms or any body part is, I guess, for dance, and their spacing, you have a full 8 count to just look at where the opposites are, what's going on, and also really make sure your athletes know the dance. It'll take a while. You'll find a lot wrong. You might even think that you have a really clean dance, and you'll end up finding all these small details of things that aren't the same via opposites or the transitions and movements, and people arguing about counts and, hey, one of you have your hand on your hip, the other does not. Which one is it? They'll fight for a minute about which the choreographer told them that it was hand on hip or not. But you'll probably make an executive decision by that point and just say, great, hands on hip, moving on. Once we get past 4, so we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, we're dancing 3, and freeze. Keep counting 5, 6, 7, 8, and while you're counting, you are just skimming everything to see what is not looking the same, what is not looking the opposite, the motion placements, etc. If they do get all the way through, so let's say their 4 is now polished, so 1, 2, 3, and freeze, we're counting 5, 6, 7, we're still holding 1, 2, 3, pick it back up on 5, 6, 7, and freeze, because we're freezing on every 4 and 8. What this also does is it really makes the athletes know the dance, because they actually have to think about, like, okay, I've never had to stop mid-dance and then pick it back up, so I really have to think about what's coming next. And as you're going through, it really helps them relearn the dance the correct way. The other thing, how we can evolve this game as well, like I said, 4 and 8 is typically the easiest one to freeze on, just mentally dancing and counting. It's easy. From there, you can switch it up. You can freeze on 1 and 5. You can freeze on 3 and 7. Whatever cheer opposite numbers you want to freeze on, you can freeze on. Eventually, ideally, if you play this game 4 times, freezing on each number, your dance will be cleaned. Easy as that, right? Um, it can take a while, but like I said, cleaning dance is boring sometimes. So this is actually allowing an atmosphere where you're still counting and doing stuff, and it's kind of fun for us coaches as well as we're cleaning to see what's not opposite, picking it out. The athletes get really annoyed by it because they're freezing, and I tell them like, hey, when we count all the way through, you should be excited because the dance is officially cleaned for those two numbers. But it's always great when like maybe halfway through someone forgets to freeze, and they're like, come on, Susan, you forgot to freeze. We have to do it again. So they end up being really focused to get done doing this game. So that is our Tip Tuesday. Again, I just always like to reiterate to people, we have people reach out all the time, hey, our dance is scoring low, we need to redo it, or have you in to redo it? And it's like, no, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Every dance has some critique potentially to it. I feel like most dances lack a little bit of having footwork. Some routines, just depending on where the athletes are with learning choreography, sometimes they can use more intricate motions as opposed to kind of basic movements and visuals. And formation changes, I feel like, are the three main things that maybe dances typically will lack sometimes. But just because maybe you're lacking one of those things doesn't mean that you can't really clean up your dance and really work for those high dance scores, because execution, like I said, is not a separate category in dance. It's all lumped together. So you can have the best dance in the world and be sloppy with it and still score really low. Or you could maybe have a mediocre dance that maybe your kids aren't strong dancers, so your dance is a little bit more motiony. But if it's cleaned up, you can definitely hang with those kids that can really perform and sell a dance that's already clean as well. So my advice is those are some points that we don't want to give away. Like I said, this is a great way to get our dances clean. And it's a great way to still remain productive at practice if maybe you're only missing an athlete or two, instead of sending them home early or sending them to tumble track to work on free tumbling. So again, this is Kai with Spirit FX. This was our Tip Tuesday. Good luck for all of our teams competing this upcoming weekend and the rest of the month, and we wish you all the best.